All right, we're joined now at the podium by Nebraska-Kearney head coach Josh Lynn, sophomore quarterback Steve Worthing, and senior defensive lineman Sam Stoltenberg. We'll start with an opening statement from Coach.
Well, good morning, everybody. This has been a great process the last 6 months that we've been at University of Nebraska-Kearney. I'd like to thank Mike Racy and his staff for putting this event on. I've been in a lot of small school Division II media days, and this is first class. This is probably one of the better ones I've been to. I look forward to working with all the teams, the players, and the coaching staffs in the MIAA. This is the very best coached league in the nation. Not only is it the best player athletically, it's not the most athletic conference in the nation, Division II conference in the nation, but it's also the most well coached, and that's pretty apparent what they've done in the playoffs and the national championships and all that. The Lopers of the last 6 months, we've got a good thing started there at University of Nebraska-Kearney. It's a good spot. Kearney, Nebraska is a good place to raise a family. It's an even better place to bring up a new culture of a football team. And we've got a lot of work cut out in front of us. Offensively, we're going to try to be unique and do something different. Defensively, I believe you got to come in this conference and be physical and stop the run. Key starters offensively, just to name a couple. Steve Worthing here, one of our quarterbacks. We also have a fifth-year senior in Sam Brower, who's an H-back for us. David Squires, an offensive center for us. Key starters come back defensively. George Brown, safety. Sam here to my left, and then Henwa Alehu, a sophomore defensive end. We're really excited to be in the MIAA. And I think the Lopers moving forward need to evolve like the MIAA has. You look back in the day, the MIAA isn't the conference that it is now. A lot of that's credit to Mr. To the athletic directors and Mr. Racy in the conference office. But there's a reason why this is the best Division II conference in the nation, and that's because of the coaches and how the MIAA has evolved into the best conference in the nation. And the Lopers need to follow suit. We haven't been there in the last 4 to 5 years. And our mission there is obviously to get our kids graduated, but we've got to start putting competitive teams on the football field, and that starts this year. So I thank you for having us today, and I'd like to open up to questions and go Lopers.
All right, we'll start with questions for players, and we'll start with you, Sam. Kind of as an upperclassman, with the new coaching staff, how much are you a part of the learning process? Saying this is what we saw last year. This is how quick the league is. This is how big the league is. How much do you kind of involve yourself in that?
Well, offense in the MIAA is tough. It's tough to defend. There's a lot of good offensive linemen. There's a lot of good running backs and quarterbacks. And there's a lot of quick wide receivers. Being one of the old guys, as we call them, the vets, it's fun to be in the coach's office and be around watching film and just kind of how the new scheme fits into the MIAA. And how I can relay that information to the underclassmen, the other boys that are playing right next to me. So I like to be as involved as I possibly can. I got one more go around this year, so make it count.
Steve, we've talked to some of the other offensive players in the league about the speed of MIAA defenses. Having a chance to watch it, and learn about it. What do you do to prepare for that kind of team speed?
Just a lot of film study and knowing the players you're going to play against and knowing what kind of defense they're going to run to, I guess, out-scheme that speed. Because, there are a ton of fast defenses in this league that are difficult to go against. So you got to be very diligent in the film room and know what you're going up against.
Sam, you look at the league offenses. Some are in the top 25 in the nation last season, and a lot of that goes back to quarterbacks. A lot of quarterbacks in this league will use their legs, but they'll also throw the ball downfield. Talk about preparing for the different kinds of quarterbacks there are in this league.
It all starts in the film room, studying who you're going to play against. Personally, like Washburn's offense, I like under center and kind of that kind of football right in your face. Then Emporia's more spread, and it's unique. And what makes football cool and the best game on earth is that it's different each week. You prepare for a different offense, and defensively you prepare for that. and you kind of change your team or your defense or your scheme every week, which I think is amazing. So,
Steve, you've obviously got some players coming back on offense. Talk a little bit about, having those guys come back, the chance to gel with them, and kind of what that propels into the season.
It just makes everyone more comfortable out there on the field. We know how we know how we work with each other. We know how to play with each other, and we're all really tight as a unit on the offense because we have a year under our belt, and it's just a tight-knit group.
Sam, talk a little bit about replacing Tyke. Obviously one of the most prolific tacklers in the MIAA. Talk about, as you kind of step into more of that leadership role and just what losing a guy like Tyke means.
Tyke will never be replaced. He's one of the best football players to ever play the game. He's the second leading tackler in NCAA history. He'll never be replaced, but we've got a few young boys up there that are coming up that are smart, that want to take on a role and fill that void of what Tyke Kozel was. And it's exciting to see how excited they are to be around the defense and to try and take what Tyke had.
All right. Coach, we had a question from Twitter. This is from Coy Hobbs. What players come to mind as having a good summer for the Lopers?
Well, these two sitting up here currently. And the great part of that, we had a good group of young men stick around this summer, and they're committed. To name a couple, Hinlaw, Aleu, George Brown, Dallas Carter, another safety for us. The entire offensive line, returning offensive line, was there this summer working out. David Squires, Josh Stoltenberg, Sam's brother, had a good summer. Another thing, too, is a couple offensive linemen, Corey Holick, Colin Keaton, all had pretty good summers this summer.
All right, Coach, kind of for you, being new to the league, looking at it a little bit from the outside, talk a little bit about, what you've learned about it and what you expect out of this season as a head coach.
Well, I had that conversation just this morning with a fellow coach, is the thing about the MIAA, I don't think you really understand it until you're right in the middle of it. And the thing of it, what I do understand is, I've been fortunate enough to coach in a couple other Division II conferences, and I consider those conferences, in the Lone Star Conference and the Gulf South Conference, I consider those conferences really good. But this is the cream of the crop. So what I'm trying to say is, what I've learned through film and number one is this league is extremely well coached, more so than I've ever seen. The second thing is there's a reason why they're winning national championships out of this league. So I've made some assessments about the athleticism and the overall programs in the league, but it'd be really pressed for me to say, how good it is until I get in it and I get tangled up in it. So to answer your question, I don't know, but I know it's the best Division II conference in the nation.
All right, we'll start with you on this one, Sam. Coming here to the place where the national championship is played, obviously the goal is to get to the national championship this season, but if not, what do you maybe take back to the younger players from what you've seen today as far as wanting to get back here?
Well, this area down here is pretty cool, but I think we need to start somewhere. And yeah, your goal is to come to the D2 national championship, but kind of a mentality that I want to take back is week by week. Chop wood. Do your job every week, and you can take home something at the end of that. And whether it is a national championship, or whether it's a bowl game, or whether it's, more wins than you've had previously, taking something back, doing something unique each week, and being proud of that. So,
Steve, as a guy with a couple more years, kind of the same question.
Yeah, this place is absolutely, it's a gorgeous facility. It's awesome, and the goal is to come play here. But right now, all we're focusing on is what we need to do for week one to get a win. So.
All right, Coach, kind of the same question for you.
The situation of our program, and I think these guys is, be realistic with ourselves. In the same token, we need to go out and we need to go outwork people, and be prepared. And through preparation comes hard work. And as we move into this season, I think Sam said it best: go in there and chop wood. Take it day by day, and have a realistic expectation of of our football team and our parameters, and outwork and out execute. Play good, solid, disciplined football.
Coach,
Yes,
Randy
sir.
Spear here. Have you gotten a taste for the passion the state of Nebraska has for football? And do you view it as a challenge having the Huskers in the same state, playing oftentimes on the same day, maybe taking away excitement from your program or maybe pulling fans that might come to your game?
I'd like to answer that delicately. I really, growing up, I was a big Nebraska Cornhusker fan. And as I've moved in to Nebraska, I like the Cornhuskers. I mean, they're our state school, and we're part of that system. Now, with that said, I've grown to not like the Cornhuskers as much as I've moved into Nebraska. And with to answer your question, but the great thing about Nebraska is they love their football, and I've been hearing comments since January. Since I've gotten there, that hey man, I sure am ready for football season. Let's get going, and that carries down to every single level, from the Cornhuskers to our level, to the to the MIAA, to the Division II schools in our state, to all the NAIA schools in our state, and and then the high school. I mean, it's just football's a way of life there, and they love their football, and and I've lived in different other states where that's not necessarily the situation. So what I most love about that is Nebraska's a football state, and they care about their football. And Kearney, Nebraska, the people that live in Kearney, Nebraska, they love the Lopers. They love their Cornhuskers, don't get me wrong, but I think it's been pretty evident this semester with fundraisers and things like that they also care about the Lopers. And so, I think it's awesome. So.
And then with that, is recruiting in your own backyard going to be important to start this turnaround?
Sure. What I was extremely impressed with when we first started the recruiting process is, and the young men that we had identified when I first got the job, is there's some big kids in the state of Nebraska. And, if we can get those big kids and, and develop them, it's extremely important for our success to be able to do that.
Coach Jesse McWilliam with KQ2 in St. Joe. You kind of talked a little bit about getting Nebraska-Kearney back into, towards the top of the MIAA. You get Missouri Western week 1. They're, kind of doing the same thing. New coaching staff. You have a new coaching staff. What are you looking forward to most when it comes to week 1?
Well, and there's also a little back history there. The 2 coaches there I've coached with, and with Mike Walton and Justin Richter. And, what I'm most excited about is just kind of the question earlier in regards to I'm anxious to see the type of teams that the MIAA puts on the field every Thursday or Saturday. And, that's what I'm most looking forward to, is just the competition and the athleticism and, being able to be a part of that.
Any further questions for Coach or players? All right, thank you very much.
All right, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.